Juice Robinson here, everybody. I'm about to make my AIW debut. And my opponent, Dominic Garrini, I believe. Garrini, can somebody correct me? Is that his last name?
Yeah.
Garrini. I don't know much about him, as you know, as you can see. I don't even know his name, but I do know that he's an up-and-comer here at AIW. And you know, Juice Robinson's got a lot in common with that. I'm an up-and-comer in New Japan Pro Wrestling. There's nothing I like better than a babyface just trying to make a name for himself. So I respect Dominic before I even know him. Tonight we're gonna wrestle, and the better man's gonna win.
Juice Robinson, New Japan Pro Wrestling superstar. You, from what I've heard, don't know much about me. Well, that's what tonight here at AIW's Death Row is about. I'm going to introduce you tonight to the Bone Collector, Juice. I'm going to introduce you to the guy that's been, kind of here for the last year, doing everything he can to just claw as far as he can up the ranks. And tonight is a huge step to that. You're one of the biggest superstars I've ever wrestled, and tonight, the mission, Juice, is submission. So protect your neck, because the Bone Collector's coming for you.
Introducing first, in the corner to my right, weighing in at 212 pounds, fighting out of Penton, Ohio, representing East Coast Martial Arts Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he is the Bone Collector, Dominic Garrini. To my left, weighing in at 221 pounds, fighting out of Joliet, Illinois, he is Heart and Honor, Juice Robinson!
And an interesting challenge here. Dominic Garrini taking on the AIW debut of Juice Robinson. Of course, maybe a very familiar face to many of our fans, as you can hear from the reaction he got here tonight.
Has anybody had a better last 2 years, probably, in wrestling than Juice Robinson?
That's been fantastic. This is a guy who,
just kind of walked away with his tail between his legs. I mean, he went away on his own, but he went away a defeated man from NXT, and he went to Japan and just absolutely reinvented himself.
he has found great success in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Of course, victorious over one of the biggest names in the world, Kenny Omega, and this year is G1.
Amazing G1. I mean, he just fresh off of Wrestle Kingdom 12 in front of 50,000 at the Tokyo Dome. I mean, if somebody would have came to you and said when he left NXT, I bet you'll be talking about him in 2 years with this many superlatives, I don't think you would have taken that bet.
Well, and an interesting challenge here. Dominic Garrini, of course, very familiar to AIW fans, a product of the AIW Academy. We've seen him in there with some of the biggest names in professional wrestling. And this is a matchup that he was just striving to get. But I think he might be second-guessing that one as he went for that guillotine, couldn't sink it. And Juice Robinson just deposited him with the Alabama slam, following off with a huge vertical suplex.
High impact. Juice Robinson, he didn't come to mess around. He didn't come to get his envelope and go home. I mean, and to his credit, I mean, he just wrestled in front of 50,000 people. He's in front of 500 tonight, and he is just
pure
power
muscle on that back suplex. Juice is a guy, as I said, Dominic Garrini was very vocal about the fact that Juice is someone he would love to be in that spot. Dominic Garrini wants to get there. He's got his goals.
It's someone who obviously, for the right reason or the wrong reason, followed Dominic very closely the last year plus. He's not afraid to go in there with people that you might think are above him or are better than him, if you will. I don't think he was prepared for this. I think I think he's kind of gotten used to that spot of, oh yeah, I'll wrestle this name and I'll show him what a great submission wrestler I am. I mean, Juice Robinson is beating Dominic up right now. I mean, there's really no other way to say it.
Well, for a brief second, it looked like Dominic might be back into it with those palm strikes, that flurry, but it's cut off with that back elbow. And looking for that senton. I was going to say one of his trademarks, the elevation on that senton, but that's exactly what you have to watch out for with Dominic Garrini. Garrini obviously knew this match was coming, had it well scouted, and looks to transition. Juice doing all he can to keep that arm bent, to keep that arm bar from getting locked out, looking to stack Garrini up.
That's true. The one thing you can't do with Dominic is you can't take your eyes off of Dominic. And when you get when you're in a senton like that up high, you don't see your opponent.
Oh, and right now, Dom is just beating Juice up. The flying knee, the Superman punch, gorgeous overhead belly to belly.
It's the beauty of the sport, Bob. Sometimes it only takes one false move, one quick counter, and you can turn the tide of any match, and that's exactly what Dominic has done.
And now Juice just snapping those jabs off. That big left hand, Dom though had it scouted into Guri on point. And now perhaps looking for that quick, that stump puller style pile driver. He's got him up, no. And one more time, big Alabama slam. And it looked like Garini's eyes glassed over when he hit the mat.
But you bring up a good point earlier when you said when Juice went for that senton and you had said Dominic had him scouted.
Oh!
How much scouting do you think Juice has done on Dominic?
Well,
I mean, probably none.
Absolutely. I mean, he showed early on in this matchup, he obviously respects Dom. He's not one of these guys, I think Dom doesn't belong in there with him. Show of respect early on. He told me, I talked to him during intermission, and he said, you know what, he's thrilled to be here. And he's heard a lot about Dom, but you're right. I doubt there's a lot of footage for him to study, or that he had the opportunity to study. Looking for the power bomb. Dom wriggling his way down, hooks that leg, but Juice just powers him back up. Dom fighting his way out with those right hands. Juice is caught with the backbreaker. He was looking for the taste, and just like that, Garrini had another of his trademark moves set up and a counter waiting for it.
An interesting fisherman's variation right there. Kind of lacing his arms through that leg.
Cover, and Juice knows exactly where he is.
That's smart. Gotta love that. Gotta love that ring position.
And Garrini, rather than getting frustrated, we saw that earlier in the night from some of the other younger competitors, the frustration would set in. Instead of allowing that frustration to set, he goes to the crossface. And now transitioning it, using it to reposition.
Back in that crossface.
You see
Now, if
Juice?
Jake Clemens could look, it appears to me that Juice's foot might be under that rope.
We're on an odd angle.
We're on an odd angle, but I'm going to give myself the benefit of the doubt and see if Jake's missing it.
That is definitely possible. Clemens watching that front hand, which gets to the bottom rope. Garrini with the break. Garrini rethinking his strategy. He had closed in on Juice, and instead backing up.
I mean, I know a lot of people give him credit for that, but I certainly won't, because that's how you win matches. You don't wait for your opponent to get back to his feet.
Well, and looking for that flying knee a second time. Instead, he eats that boot. And now, look to be going for the pulp friction, perhaps. Dom counters it. Now pulling him to the feet again. And yeah, he had him in position that time. And the taste hits that time. Twice now we've seen him go for that pulp friction. Now Juice pulling him to his feet. Has him up. And there's that falling power bomb. Just driving his way down. Stacks Garrini on the shoulder. Still only a 2 count.
a while since I've seen Garrini pushed around as he has tonight. I mean, I know he's fought back. I know he's done some of his own pushing, if you will, but Juice Robinson just is really impressing me, and I don't know about anybody else, with the kind of power that he has. He doesn't look like he's that powerful. But clearly, he's got a ton of strength.
You hear what is Dominic Garrini's hometown crowd getting behind Juice. And Juice says, if you're going to ask for it, I'm going to give it to you. Two of them just exchanging chops.
Now we're kind of evolving into New Japan here, Wadsworth.
Down with the chop sequence. Now those open hand palm thrust, back elbow. Looking for the hammer fist, and there's that big left hand that has left many opponents on Dream Street, setting him up. Lariat!
Juice high with that lariat. Now maybe out.
Juice setting up after the first one didn't get all of it, but the second one certainly did. As you said, that first one came in high. He realized he may have only caught the top of the head, and the second one he did not miss.
I don't know. He might have but he hit him up high.
And look at him positioning himself perfectly. He uses the waist lock, pulling him up. Pulp friction, looking for it, but Dom is ready for it. Suplex into the armbar, and he has got it. And Juice Robinson tapped.